Oaths are a vital part of any Deepwoken player's build. They allow players access to a myriad of unique and powerful abilities, provided you have the requirements to obtain them and incorporate them into your build. This guide aims to go over all of the current oaths in game at the time of recording. Look at the timestamp list on screen to find the oath guide that you might be looking for. Each guide might have a couple of knowledge checks before the guide starts, going over some fundamental knowledge that the guides expect you to know before getting properly into them. Each guide will show and tell you the stat requirements and any other miscellaneous requirements needed to obtain the oath initially, as well as how to progress the oath until it is completely maxed out. For most of the guides here, I opted to use a fresh out of trial level 6 or 7 slot. If I can progress and max these oaths at power 6 for the most part, you guys can do it at power 20. With that in mind, let's get started with our first oath, Starkindred. Starkindred has a stat requirement of 40 strength. You will also need to grip and kill at least one player. Chime of Conflict kills do not count, but any and all overworld kills do count towards the requirement, including kills against your own friends and guild members. Once you meet these requirements, make your way to Songseeker, specifically on the upper levels towards the derelict High Church, found deep within the island. Once inside the church itself, open up a trapdoor and head downstairs. Use the secret lever to lower a bookshelf, and then you can go through a door into a chamber with a restrained celestial, and an NPC by the name of Samael. Upon speaking to Samael, he discusses his religion and wonders if you're worthy of joining them. If you meet the stat requirements, he will send you out to kill Oathless, a heretic of the church who stole their powers for selfish reasons.
I gotta feel it.
Oathless is located above the Star Tree in the Starswept Valley. You can get to Oathless' spawn by using an Ignition Union hook, or by doing some clever parkour with mobility mantras on the side of a cliff face. Upon arrival, if Oathless is not there, simply hop servers until he does appear, as that means somebody else did the Starkindred quest before you in that server. Oathless is your standard humanoid fight, so kill him by any means necessary and grip him. Once you have, return to Samael and you'll obtain the oath Starkindred. In order to progress this oath, Samael will tell you that 3 more sinners must die within the Luminant, and he gives you hints as to where they are. These sinners are located at Lower Songseeker, Summer Isle, and the Star Tree somewhat away from Miner's Landing. You can kill these sinners in any order that you please, but for our guide we're going to start with Songseeker and end at the Star Tree. Head down to the base level of Songseeker, jump the river gap, heading onto the side closer to the sea gates that will lead you back to the Etrian Luminant. At the Broken Castles area, on top of one of them, a sinner will spawn. Take care of it however you want to, and then we're going to head off to Summer Isle. Next to the Summer Isle Inn is where you'll find the second sinner. Kill it and we can move on to the final sinner. Starting at Miner's Landing, you want to go as high up as you can and follow the bridges and their natural pathways until you reach a broken bridge. You will then need to glide to a cliffside in order to reach the center. Just be aware of the brainsuckers that might be able to hit you off your glider before you get there in the process. Upon landing, head deeper into this area and the Finer Sinner will spawn in a long alleyway. Kill him through any means needed and you will have maxed out Starkindred. Starkindred gives you 2 combat mantra slots, 1 wildcard mantra slot, and 8 bonus health. You also gain a secret passive, 1 talent, and 3 mantras. The main focus of Starkindred is its wings. Your wings can be activated by air dash canceling towards the ground or by using any of your mantras. They dissipate after a moderate duration, but you can easily reactivate them by using the same methods as they disappear. The wings themselves grant you enhanced air dashes when they are out, allowing you to air dash further and higher. They also allow you to use one of your special talents, Death from Above. Death from Above lets you deliver multiple heavy blows on an opponent, dealing damage. This is a great combo move for Starkindred, and it gives them a pseudo mantra when they need it, as it doesn't cost any ether. Ascension has you taken to the sky, going in a horizontal line, knocking down anyone hit for a very long time, along with some moderate damage. This move cannot be blocked or parried, and a sound will play indicating this. Celestial Assault is a pretty simple move, doing 2 slashes and bringing opponents hit by them into the air. A solid combo move. And lastly, Sinister Halo sends out a ring of celestial energy, dealing damage repeatedly on anything it comes into contact with. This is a great move for pressuring opponents. Lastly, there's a secret interaction with Starkindred and Fireblade. If you have your wings out and you use the Flame Charm mantra Fireblade, you will ascend into the air and deliver a large Fireblade, similar to something you'd see in the Bleach anime. This does decent damage and has a nice area of effect, but it leaves you vulnerable for its duration, so keep that in mind if you wish to use it yourself. This covers the entire oath, so now we're going to move on to our next oath in line, which is Fadetrimmer. Fadetrimmer is a very easy oath to get. You only need to be power 12 and have gotten 12 haircuts. These haircuts do not need to be unique, as I just spammed the same one 12 times, and I was able to get the oath with no issue. This oath gives you 1 combat mantra slot and 1 wildcard mantra slot. You also gain access to the unique tools hair products, Fadetrimmer skill set, and hairspray. Fadetrimmer skill set allows you to select and use hair IDs that allow you to change your own hair or hair of opponents when you hit them with your Fadetrimmer specific mantras. Hair products allows you to select what your hairspray will do. This can be either applying a burning, healing, or a charm effect. And the hairspray is a tool that sprays the selected mode out in front of you at opponents or allies. Fadetrimmer's 2 mantras are Close Shave and Precision Cuts. Close Shave works similar to Prominence Draw, dashing a short distance and attempting to strike the player, dealing moderate damage. If it lands, you forcibly change an opponent's hair to whatever you set it to be with the Fadetrimmer skill set. Precision Cuts is a multi-hit move that uses large scissors to deliver multiple quick cuts. If you land it, the opponent's hair is forcibly changed. And that's all there is to this oath. It's extremely simple, and it's more of a meme oath the community can use from time to time. But for now, we're going to discuss Saintsworn. Saintsworn has a pretty peculiar set of stat requirements, needing only 15 investment points into each attunement, aside from Blood Red and Iron Sing, to obtain. Once you have these requirements, you'll need to attune to 5 obelisks found throughout the entire Etrian and Eastern Luminance. You can attune to these in any order that you like, but we're going to start within the Etrian Luminant and make our way out east. The first obelisk that you can find is in the Garden Reservoir. Starting there, go through the Acid Lakes and hug the right side of the walls until you see a miniature waterfall. Inside this waterfall is a short passage to the Gale Reef Obelisk. Attune to it and we'll head over to the Frostra Obelisk. Next, you'll need to head to Minitursa, specifically the Crypt of the Unbroken. On the upper floor of the crypt, there is a bookshelf that you can break, revealing a hidden area that you can explore. After doing some parkour, you will see the Frostra Obelisk. Just be careful of the blue ice around it, as it can damage you when you stand on it, and can potentially kill you. Those two obelisks are the only two located in the Etrian Luminant, so we're going to head over to the Eastern Luminant and tackle the next obelisk, which is the Thundercall Obelisk. The Thundercall Obelisk is located on the side of Boatman's Watch in a small hidden cave. Head inside and avoid the Thunder Pits as they can be negative for your health. Interact with the obelisk and we'll be off to Saramed Peaks for the Flame Charm Obelisk. You want to head upwards onto the mountainous borderlines of Saramed Peak, and there's going to be a cave opening that has the Flame Charm Obelisk within it, surrounded by lava. Safely cross and attune with the obelisk, and now we can head to our final obelisk, the Shadowcast one.
Suffering a greater or lesser distortion of your visual and auditory perceptions. A minute might seem like an hour. Music might sound strangely beautiful. You might feel disembodied, boundless, spinning helplessly through space in free fall.
The Shadowcast Obelisk is located on the Moon's Eyrie. In order to get there, leaving from the ancient Rotland Seagate, head out on the highway and open your map. Once your location aligns with the east and west on your compass, head along the same alignment into the Void Sea and you'll eventually arrive at the Moon's Eyrie. Climb up the side of the island, and on one of its small outcroppings there will be a series of platforms that lead to a small cave that has a Shadowcast obelisk. Upon attuning to the final obelisk, you will obtain Saintsworn. In order to progress Saintsworn, you need to complete world events. Any world event will do, but you need to complete 2 of them to max out the Oath. Saintsworn gives you 2 combat mantra slots, 2 support mantra slots, and 1 wildcard mantra slot. You will also gain the talents Aether Proselyte, Hero's Assist, Saint's Negation, Saint's Synergy, and Saint's Overload. You also gain a unique passive, which is the Saint's Blade, and 1 mantra called the Blade of Saints. The Saint's Blade can be equipped by hitting the L key by default, which will be the centerpiece of your Oath. The swords that appear on your back are in a specific order based on your highest investment attunements. Each time you use a Saint's Blade critical, which happens to be one of the Hero Blade criticals, you'll cycle to a new element. Each full round of swapping through each element on your set of blades is called a cycle. This system is the basis for the entirety of how your kit will function. Let's go over the talents that Saintsworn has to offer to give you a bit of a better idea. Hero's Assist allows you to gain unique benefits from each stance that you're in, whether it's Flame, Frost, Gale, etc., by fulfilling certain conditions. Each Saint does the following. Jace, the Flame Charm hero, upon landing a flourish, he will send out 3 eruptions in the direction of the flourish, which automatically procs the talent The Floor is Lava. Trinity for Gale Breathe, when you uppercut, block break an opponent with a mantra, or if you're hit when starting to cast a mantra, a little tornado will appear, suffocating the opponent and attempting to push them away. Urek for Shadowcast, when you parry at all, a minor burst of shadow appears, dealing small damage and applying a minor blind to any one hit. Faust for Frostdraw, when you land a Frostdraw mantra or any attuned mantra in the Frostdraw stance, more on that later, Faust's Spirit appears, shooting icicles in a given direction, dealing damage and applying chill or crystals, depending on if you have the crystallization path or not. Lastly, Tessa for Thundercall, upon casting any mantra, the windup is greatly increased, but the overall damage is increased as well. Each of these hero assists can only proc once per cycle, so hopefully you can get your use out of them each time you use a critical attack. Aether Proselyte, however, I think is the most essential talent to understand in order to effectively use Saintsworn. What this talent does is attunement fixing. Your non-level 5 mantras that are attuned will gain a level, allowing certain mantras to guard break when you didn't previously have the investments for them. Now, depending on what stance you're in, the game will see all of your mantras as the same attunement, allowing you to use talents that normally wouldn't work for certain attunements. Here's a really simple example. If you are in the Gale Breathe stance, your sword is green and it has the Gale Breathe crit ready to go, and you have the Inhale talent, you can inhale non-Gale Breathe mantras. Basically what I'm trying to say is that with Aether Proselyte, the game will view whatever mantras you have as whatever attunement your Saint's Blade is currently for the sake of talent activation. If your Saint's Blade is Flame Charm, you can use Dancing Steps on non-Flame Charm mantras. If your Saint's Blade is Shadowcast, your mantras can make use of the talent Dark Hours, and so on. The Deepwoken wiki has a small amount of documented talent interactions that work with Aether Proselyte, so I suggest looking there for some ideas to build around if you plan to make a Saintsworn. Saint's Negation allows you to fully block an attack that matches your Saint stance once per cycle. This means that it fully negates the attack and any posture damage or actual damage it would deal. A simple example is being that if you're in the Flame Charm stance and you block a Fire Blade, once per cycle you can prevent this Fire Blade from hitting and guard breaking you. You'll need to start a new cycle in order to gain access to this talent again. Saint's Overload gives you a mantra modification buff and a damage buff on all of your mantras after a full cycle is completed. You can know that it's activated when all of your blades are pulsating white periodically. Saint's Synergy allows 15% of your highest investment scaling to drip down into all other mantra damage. This essentially grants all of your other mantras slight dual scaling depending on what attunements you've invested into. Lastly, Saintsworn has the mantra Blade of Saints. This mantra does something different based on which stance you're currently in, So here they are as follows. Flame-Charred Blade of Saints sends you into the air, attempting to land on a player, knocking them down and applying a burn on hit. The Gale Breathe stance propels yourself forward, bringing anyone you hit into the air as a result, much like an uppercut. The Shadowcast stance sends out a large wave of shadow, bringing enemies with the wave and knocking them into the air at the end of the mantra. The Frost Draw stance sends out multiple arc projectiles, following up with a lunge that knocks opponents back. Lastly, the Thundercall stance slashes at an opponent, knocking them down on the first hit and sending down lightning on the second. This can be modified with Cloudstones and Shredderstones to increase the number of lightning strikes. Saintsworn is arguably one of the most uniquely functioning oaths in the game and is one of the most mechanically complex and detailed. With this in mind, let's go to another oath that was made by the same dev, Arcwarder. Arcwarder has one of the more unique stat requirements out of all the oaths, needing 20 Flame Charm, 20 Thundercall, and 20 Fortitude. In order to obtain the oath, you need to do a small quest in Layer 2. Go into Layer 2 and proceed as normal, turning on the generator and heading to the Ignition Union base. Upon talking to Alpha there, make sure that you see the dialogue about going and finding Epsy, as he seems to have disappeared. Once you have, head to the entrance of Furfire Caverns where Epsy can be found. Upon talking to him, make sure to select the Apply Heat option, as you'll save him and send him back to the Ignition Union base. Return back to the Ignition Union base and speak with Alpha again, and he'll mention that if you head to the surface and talk to Delta, he might have something for you. Delta is located at Miner's Landing, so you want to head there and speak with him. If you meet the stat requirements, he'll look you over and you'll obtain the Arcwarder Oath. In order to progress Arcwarder, you need to leave on the light hooks Clara spawns upon defeating a boss, whether it's floor 1 or floor 2. Using the light hook in your inventory does not count. You'll need to do this a total of 4 times to completely max out the oath.
Well on our way with 81 degrees right now, hot and humid.
Arcwarder gives 1 wildcard mantra slot and 2 combat mantra slots. You also get 5 talents and 3 mantras from this oath. The main feature of this oath is the Arc Suit. Using the Arc Suit manifests a suit of armor akin to Iron Man's suit of armor, and it provides the following effects by default: damage resistance, and multiple talents that will allow for unique effects. The Arc Suit has 5 talents that accompany it, giving you a ton of passive benefits while using the suit, and we'll go over them now. Arc Module Leap allows players in their Arc Suit to double jump with a relatively high cooldown, giving the suit decent mobility and a free double jump. Arc Module Dash enhances players' dashes and air dashes while in the suit, giving you better mobility on the ground, and allowing for extra mid-air mobility. Arc Module Eject triggers when you are guard broken. The suit negates the effect of the blow and you're flung backwards, and your suit is destroyed. Arc Module Guard lets you block from all 360 degrees around your character, giving you greater defensive capabilities. Arc Module Null is a very unique effect, as it can be toggled on and off with the N key by default. This talent lets you negate both incoming and outgoing enchant effects while you are in your Arc Suit. Arcwarder lastly has 2 combat mantras, being Arc Wave and Arc Beam. Arc Wave sends out a wave of plasma, inflicting shock and burn upon successfully landing. These mantras do scale with your Thundercall and Flame Charm, and if you're in your suit when you land Arc Wave, you restore some of your posture. Arc Beam sends forth a beam of plasma to hit an enemy, dealing damage and inflicting burn and shock. This mantra can also be used mid-air to send a beam downwards to hit opponents. One notable and unique effect of Arcwarder is that both of their combat mantras have heavily increased PvE scaling, opening the door for potential PvE builds to utilize Arcwarder. The next oath, though, that we're going to cover is Bladeharper. Bladeharper is another somewhat unique stat requirement, requiring 75 medium weapon, or 90 points invested into weapon stats in general, along with either 25 strength or 25 agility. Once you meet the requirements for this, head to one of the many sky statues located across both the East and Etrian Luminant. For this guide though, we're going to start in the Etrian Luminant. Upon interacting with them, you'll be transported to the Blade Within. Once inside, speak to the Blade and you'll fight a copy of yourself. You will need to kill this copy in order to obtain the oath. This clone of yours copies all the mantras you have, even ones that are not actively equipped, so if you really want to min-max, go to the Shrine of Division to remove mantras you don't want your clone using. Otherwise, it's your standard humanoid fight, except this clone is exceptionally smarter than most humanoids, parrying a lot more attacks than usual. Defeat your clone and you'll obtain the oath. In order to progress it, you must travel to 2 other sky statues and defeat your clones there. The first statue that we're going to head to now is near the Lord Regent's palace. Head towards his palace and hang towards the right side of it, climbing the hills until you see the statue. Interact with it and go defeat your clone, and then we're off to the Eastern Luminant for the final statue. This final statue is located on a very high mountainside, which requires either using mobility mantras, having high agility, or using the Chime of Dwelling climbing tech. Once you reach the top, repeat the same process as before, and you'll have maxed out the oath. Bladeharper gives 2 combat mantra slots. You also gain 5 talents, 1 passive ability, and 2 mantras. The first and most major talent that we're going to discuss is True Strength. True Strength is activated by either using Reveal or by proccing another talent, Untouchable, more on that later. When True Strength is active, you gain the following benefits. Your Live Step talent cooldown is reduced, you gain access to Float Like a Butterfly, it removes the conditions to use Soaring Storm, empowers your Bladeharper mantras, and you gain a speed boost. True Strength is a talent that allows your kit to go full throttle, and it's in your best interest to activate it as much as you can. The talent Reveal gives you a tool that allows you to constantly have your True Strength talent up and running at the cost of a constant wither gain so long as you are in this mode. Most times players use it and it's seen as a last-ditch attempt when at lower health, so just keep that in mind if you decide to pop it. Live Step allows you to gain a short speed boost and a vanishing dodge cancel when you dodge cancel while sprinting. This gives you great mobility in fights, just keep in mind that doesn't give you additional iframes during this dodge animation. Soaring Storm empowers your uppercuts whenever you land a flourish, a Bladeharper mantra, or after using Lithe Step. These conditions are removed when you are in True Strength. Untouchable allows you to enter True Strength when you land enough hits on an opponent without them hitting you back. Weapon attacks grant 2 stacks, whereas mantras grant you 1. So you'll need 10 stacks total in order to proc this talent through any combination of mantras and basic hits. Float Like a Butterfly allows you to do a flurry of slashes when air dash canceling into the ground. This can only be used when you have True Strength active. It can also be move stacked with other mantras, resulting in very deadly combos. The 2 mantras that you gain are Palm Strike and Decimate. Palm Strike has you slam your palm into an opponent, dazing and dealing damage on hit. If you are in True Strength, you launch them into the air with a flurry of slashes, dealing additional damage and setting up air combos. Decimate does 2 slashes at an opponent, dealing moderate damage. If used in True Strength and it's landed, you'll begin teleporting to players nearby, inflicting a weaker version of the mantra on them. Using this mantra on downed players will execute them. Bladeharper is a phenomenal oath for combo-oriented players who enjoy a very aggressive playstyle. The next oath that we're going to discuss is Blindseer. Blindseer has a pretty simple requirement to use the oath, that being 40 willpower and have all of the Mental Fortress Tree talents. You also need a blindfold handy. Once you have these requirements, you want to head to Arisia, where you'll find the Temple of the Forgotten Flame. In one of the side rooms there, you'll see a set of glyphs of details you cannot quite make out. Upon equipping your blindfold, the glyphs detail a vow that you can make, and upon accepting it, you'll have obtained Blindseer. Blindseer can be progressed by helping players with no oaths escape the depths trial. In order to fully max the oath, you'll need to end up helping 5 players total. And you must do this in 5 separate depths trials runs, and no one else in the trial from you can have an oath, or you're not going to get the progression. Blindseer gives you 10 sanity, 1 support mantra slot, and 1 wildcard mantra slot. You also gain access to 3 mantras and 1 talent. Your 1 talent is All-Seeing Eye, which allows Blindseers to locate enemies who are currently invisible through things like Ghost, the Portal Spell, and other forms of temporary invisibility. The first mantra that we're going to discuss is Tranquil Circle. This mantra spawns in a white circle in a radius that prevents mantra usage while in it and nullifies the effects of mantras against anyone currently in the circle. This means that you can't throw projectiles into a Tranquil Circle to try to hit a Blindseer or anyone else in there, as it won't do anything. This mantra can be modified to make the circle smaller, but it'll follow your character around instead. Mind Soothe is a support mantra that heals nearby allies when used. This costs sanity to do so, and using it on more players at once will drain more of your sanity. You only lose this sanity when you manage to successfully heal someone. Lastly, Sightless Beam is Blindseer's big combat mantra. After a fairly large windup, you'll unleash a beam of energy directed right in front of you. This mantra does substantial damage over time, blinds if you hit an opponent enough, and deals increased damage against mobs from the depths, such as Sharkos and Enforcers. Blindseer was the first oath introduced into the game, and it is a nice choice for players who enjoy PvE content, and even PvP to an extent. The next oath that we're going to discuss is Chainwarden. Chainwarden has a pretty versatile stat requirement. You need a combined 40 points invested across Strength, Fortitude, and Willpower. You'll also need a significant amount of Central Authority reputation right around the ally mark. Once you have these requirements, head to the Vice Warden located at Fort Merit. He'll ask you to deal with a deserter that is supposedly hiding out at the Summer Isle. Accept his quest and you're off to Summer Isle. Once there, head to the miniature keep that is in shambles nearby the main dock and head into its small basement. Inside is an authority soldier who's being held captive. Release him and begin leaving the basement. Once you reach the main floor of the keep, an authority deserter will attack you. Defeat and kill him by any means necessary, and you'll be granted the Chainwarden Oath. However, if you did not get the oath upon killing him, simply head back to the Warden and talk to him and you should get the oath. In order to progress this oath, you need to kill opponents who are hated by the Central Authority while they are chained. You can chain opponents with the mantra that you got upon your oath's obtainment, Restrain. You can progress this by killing players hated by the Authority or bosses that are seen as hated by the Authority, namely the Ferryman, Duke, and Maestro. You must kill chained enemies a total of 2 times to max out the oath. Chainwarden grants 2 combat mantra slots and 1 wildcard mantra slot. You also gain access to 3 mantras and 2 talents. The talent Perpetual Wrath buffs your Restrain mantra for each consecutive hit that you land on an opponent with Restrain. It caps out after several hits, but the damage increase is very noticeable. Chain Lash procs on a flourish, letting you whip your chain to pull enemies back towards you, setting them up for a kick move that is inherent to the talent. This keeps enemies near you and allows you to keep comboing them. This pull can also be activated from landing one of your mantras, Impale. Notably, the chains that you can apply on opponents limit their movement, causing opponents who are chained to the Chainwarden to move slower the further and further they are away from them. However, if you go far enough away in either direction, the chain will be broken. Restrain is a kick that upon landing inflicts a chain on opponents and lightly dazes them. This move will have its cooldown lowered when it confirms on a hit, or the move is blocked, making it very deadly for pressure. Impel is a series of projectiles that you shoot out, dealing little damage but are capable of proccing multiple chains and pulling opponents towards you. Lastly, Rupture allows you to manually sever your chain, ragdolling and dealing moderate damage to opponents. However, if no one is chained, you do a series of punches at an opponent, dazing them if it lands. Chainwarden is an oath that is great for players that love to lock down opponents. The next oath that we're going to discuss is Dawnwalker. Dawnwalker has no stat requirement to obtain other than being at least power 15. In order to obtain the oath, you're going to need to have completed the entirety of Lair 2 and obtain some Kirsten medallions. In Castle Light, simply talk to Claris and ask her to obtain the Dawnwalker oath. If you have the prerequisite cost, that being 30 Kirsten medallions, you can obtain the Dawnwalker oath. In order to progress and max this oath, you simply need to pay more medallions. 45 more medallions will max out the oath, meaning that you need to pay 75 total in order to max out Dawnwalker. Dawnwalker gives 3 combat mantra slots. Additionally, you'll gain 3 talents and 3 mantras. Protagonist Syndrome buffs your Dawnwalker moves whenever any form of shadow damage hits you. This lasts for a fairly short duration, but it buffs all of your mantras significantly. Absolute Radiance allows you to be immune to elemental effects temporarily after landing any Dawnwalker mantra. This means you can't be chilled, blinded, shocked, and any other elemental effects. Lastly, Luminous Flash can trigger when you deal enough damage while in Absolute Radiance. Your basic attacks have a chance to be empowered and result in a Luminous Flash, dealing increased damage and restoring a large amount of tempo. Dawnwalker has 3 mantras, the first being Radiant Kick. Radiant Kick is an aimable teleport move that locks onto and teleports to an enemy of your choosing, dealing damage and knocking them back. Radiant Dawn has you leap into the air and slam down at a location, dealing damage in an area of effect where you land. This move cannot be parried and guard breaks anyone who tries to parry it. Lastly, Blinding Dawn has your character do some pretty funky dance moves, and it will deal massive damage in a frontal cone. This move has a pretty large area of effect. Dawnwalker is an all-around solid oath that has some pretty decent moves, and it's super easy to get, making it accessible for any player. The next oath, though, that we're going to discuss is Saltchemist. Saltchemist is one of the higher end stat requirements for an oath, needing 75 intelligence to obtain. You'll also need to complete at least one of Sia's potion requests in order to kickstart the Oath obtainment. Sia can be found near the Shrine of Mastery at the Widow's Cave. Upon speaking with her, she'll ask you to make a potion that could do one of a couple different effects. These can range from restoring health, restoring ether, and a couple other effects. Once you've brought her a satisfactory potion at least once, you can inquire about her teacher and she'll mention his whereabouts. Her teacher is Adrophalis, and he is located at the Boatman's Watch. Starting at Miner's Landing, head to the sea gate to your left and proceed to sail past the big rock that you'll see up on your left. Keep sailing that way and Boatman's Watch will appear in the distance. Upon landing, head inward until you see the nearest broken castle to your right. You can break any obstacles that might be in your way to gain access to Adrophalis' lab. Once inside, you can talk to him about assisting in his research. In order to help him, you'll need to bring him 3 ingredients, and these ingredients are Celestial Ichor, Stardust, and any Primordial Lotus. Primordial Lotuses can be found in any Void Zone, but for our guide, you'll grab them at a Star Tree, which will also allow us to get us the Stardust that we need. Head to Starswept and make a beeline for the Star Tree. There you'll want to grab 3 Stardust, which will help us out a little bit later. And lastly, we'll head to the Derelict High Church and go into the Starkindred Oath Room, where you can use your canteen at the Pool of Red Water to get the Celestial Ichor. With all of the ingredients collected, head back to Adrophalis. Talk to him and give him the ingredients, and you'll obtain Saltchemist. In order to progress the Oath, you'll need to craft a piece of Stardust, a Vibrant Gem, and a Horpoitin Alloy all together, which will give you the various potion salt talents needed to truly bring out the Oath's potential. Saltchemist grants you 1 wildcard mantra slot, 1 support mantra slot, and 20 carry load. You also gain access to 3 talent tools, 1 mantra, and 1 talent. The main feature of this Oath is the Perpetual Distillery. This distillery allows you to put in potions that you've brewed yourself into its various slots, giving you infinite potions of your choosing. This gives the Saltchemist pretty good versatility in how they want to approach fights, depending on what you've put in your own distillery. You can choose to use whichever effects you'd like, from Ether Drain to Speed Potions. The 3 talent tools that you obtain are different salts that are used in brewing your own potions, and their effects are as follows. Aromatic salts create lingering clouds of mist upon throwing a potion. Biotic salts negate any positive effects your potions would give to enemies. And lastly, antithetic salts invert the effect of a given potion. So for example, if you make a speed potion and use the salts, it will turn it into a slowing potion, and so on for anything else that you decide to brew. None of these salts that you decide to use count towards the ingredient limit when brewing potions. Saltchemist's 1 mantra is Lethal Injection. You rush forward and inject all 3 of your potion effects into an enemy, dealing minor damage. The main lure of this move is the prospect of heavily debuffing your opponents by inflicting all of the negative potion effects at once. Landing a Lethal Injection does put all of your distillery potions on cooldown though, so keep that in mind before you decide to use the move. Saltchemist is an extremely creative. The next oath that we'll discuss is Oathless. Oathless is by far the easiest oath to get, having no stat requirements at all. In order to get Oathless, head to Miner's Landing and head to the right of the docks until you find a hidden cave. Inside, you'll find Cerulean. Talk to Cerulean inside, and they'll say that to become Oathless, you must seek out their 3 disciples. They're located at various spots around the Eastern Luminant. For our first disciple, Viridian, they're located at Fort Merritt in a small house near the elevator. Talk to them, and that will make 1 disciple talk to. The second disciple, Saffron, is located at Meteor Isle in one of the small houses. They reside on the 2nd floor. Talk to them, and that makes 2. The last disciple, Celadon, is located at the Summer Isle Inn on the 2nd floor. Head there, and that makes all 3 disciples. After talking to all 3 of the disciples, head back to Cerulean and they'll give you Oathless. Oathless has nothing else needed to progress it to max, so it's automatically maxed out upon obtaining it. Oathless gives 20% Oath move resistance, 3 wildcard mantra slots, and 10 health. Oathless is typically seen as a seat warmer oath, allowing for easy removal with Yunshul wishes or his idols to pick any new oaths that might release in the future. The next oath that we'll discuss is Linkstrider. Linkstrider is one of the few oaths that does not have any direct stat requirements. Linkstrider requires that you sacrifice 4 players with oaths to the Entropy Catalyst, or use 4 Scarlet Lotuses at the various spots in the Entropy Catalyst. The Entropy Catalyst is located off the Summer Isle Sea Highway and can be accessed by doing some parkour and gliding to a cave system that leads to the inside of the catalyst.
If it really was a 50% chance of rain, would you only have to water half your lawn? 85 to 90 degree high temperatures today. We're well on our way with 81 degrees right now, hot and humid.
I woke up this morning with a smile on my face. I looked out of my window. You know the world is a beautiful place.
Inside there, you can grab pristine lotuses that will turn into Scarlet Lotuses once you kill any player with an oath. It is extremely easy to boost for lotuses, as friends can make burner slots that you can grip to get Scarlet Lotuses. Once you have 4 lotuses, or have sacrificed 4 players at the catalyst, head back to the Entropy Catalyst and begin placing your lotuses in the empty spots. Once all 4 have been filled, a white orb will float out of the center. Interacting it will deal damage to you, fling you back, but grant you the oath. In order to progress the oath, you'll need to grip 4 players that have oaths. Once you've gripped 4 more players, you will have maxed out Linkstrider. Linkstrider gives you 2 support mantra slots and 1 wildcard mantra slot. You also gain access to 2 mantras and 2 talents. The Symbiotic Link talent allows you to apply a link to allies, passively buffing their stats and allowing you to use your Symbiotic Sustain mantra. Using this talent on enemies grants a harmful link, debilitating enemies allowing you to use Symbiotic Leech on enemies. The Entropy Link allows you to resonate with and teleport to meteors located around both the Eastern and Etrian Luminant. There are 3 in each Luminant, and I'll show you where each one is located, starting with the Eastern Luminant. This teleport does not work in combat. After resonating with each meteor, you can simply sit at a campfire and speak the name of the location that you wish to go to, and you'll be teleported to that meteor. The meteor Hygeia is located near the Songseeker to Summer Isle Sea Highway. Eunomia is located above Cybex near the Hive Life Pad.
We hit the goddamn jackpot today, boys. Rushing to and fro to get to work on time. Say that we might get some rain, but the weather turned.
Palace is on a small bit of land to the east of Miner's Landing.
Right on target, baby. Right on target.
Now we'll go into the Etrian Luminant. Ceres is located near the pathway towards the abandoned cabin for Kelsia's quest at Etris.
Beautiful blue skies and golden sunshine all along the way.
What's the weather like on your side?
Europa is located above some rocks near the entrance to the Valley of Heroes. And lastly, Fortuna is located above Eresor's Church on Arisia. Linkstrider has 2 mantras, Symbiotic Sustain and Symbiotic Leech. Symbiotic Sustain sacrifices some of your health and gives you some Wither in exchange for healing your ally for a decent portion of their health. Using the rare item Deepscorn Cask helps reduce this cost. This item can be found in Ministry caches, but you can only sustain an ally that you have a link on. Symbiotic Leech slowly takes the health from an enemy that you have a link on, restoring your own health in the process. This can be manually cancelled by clicking M1. Linkstrider is the support oath, allowing you to help allies and debilitate enemies with relative ease. The next oath we're going to discuss is Visionshaper. Visionshaper has a stat requirement of 50 charisma to obtain the oath. You'll also need to complete an encounter with Alita at the Valley of Heroes. In order to do this, head up to the topmost part of Minitursa until you see a valley that you can enter. Head on in to the center of the valley and Alita will appear, provided it's not winter. She will ask you to use a mantra, stick near a fake version of her. You can tell which ones are fakes because she has purple eyes, and then stick near her. After completing this event, you can head to the depths towards where Surge is located, which is the Deep Widow Nest. Make sure you also bring a Dark Feather along with you. Once you have met all of these requirements, talk to Surge and give him your Dark Feather. You'll then be transported to a new area where you'll meet the Nestmind. Be careful not to fall on your way to them though. Talk to the Nestmind and accept their offer, obtaining Visionshaper. In order to progress Visionshaper, you need to give Surge Void Feathers. You'll need to give him 5 Void Feathers total to max out the Oath, or 16 Dark Feathers if you decide to convert them into Void Feathers. Visionshaper grants you 2 combat mantra slots and 1 support mantra slot. You also gain access to 3 new mantras, 2 talents, and 1 talent tool. Visionshaper is based around spawning clones, so we're going to discuss the main mantra that you'll be using, which is Illusionary Servants first. Illusionary Servant spawns a Visionshaper clone on a target opponent. This clone has your last used mantra or critical attack stored in it. You can then use the talent tool Reality Shift to have your clone copy the move and use it on your opponent. The talent tool Shaper Mimicry allows your clones to block, parry, and dodge as you do, allowing you to control your clones semi-remotely. The talent Cheap Trick spawns a clone whenever you drop below 50% max HP or are hit when below 50% max HP with a cooldown. This helps to relieve pressure when fighting opponents. You also go briefly invisible when knocking opponents, giving you time to potentially steal them or grip them. Lastly, you can swap with your clones by hitting the X key. This can be done so long as you're not currently performing an action or are in any hit stun. For the other mantras, you have Mirror Illusion. This mantra does minor damage and spawns a clone of your opponent, storing the last move that they have used, allowing you to take advantage of their kit. Lastly, you have Illusionary Counter, which if landed successfully, negates the damage you would have taken and spawns a clone on the opponent whose move you have countered. Visionshaper is my personal favorite oath, and it's a very fun oath for creative players, and the only limit is your imagination. The next oath that we're going to discuss is Jetstriker. Jetstriker has a stat requirement of 50 agility. To begin obtaining the oath, talk to Alaran, somewhere near past where the rogue construct spawn in Minitursa. Alaran will ask you to race, and upon accepting, you must beat into a special orb that is near the pathway that would take you up towards the Crypt of the Unbroken. This orb will be highlighted on your screen as you do the race, so don't worry about trying to find it. Simply beat him before he gets there, and once he gets there himself, he'll ask if you want to take up his oath. Accept, and you will have obtained Jetstriker. You can progress Jetstriker by interacting with 5 orbs located around the Etrian Luminant. The first one is actually located right by where you finish the race on top of an icy pillar. You can tackle these orbs in any order, but this is the order that I did. The second orb that I went to is located on top of the Lord's Regent's Palace. Interact with it and that makes 2 orbs. The third orb is located at the Birdcage in Arisia near the edge of the island and that makes 3. Our fourth orb is located in the Tower-struck lands on Arisia as well, on top of one of the tallest towers closest to the Burning Stone Garden's entrance. The last orb that you'll need is located at the Isle of Vigils in the main courtyard. Once you've collected all of the orbs, head back to Alarian and you will have maxed out Jetstriker. Jetstriker grants 1 mobility mantra slot, 1 wildcard mobility slot, and 8 passive agility. The talents that you gain from maxing out Jetstriker also give you an additional 12 passive agility, 5 ether, and 5 health. You also gain access to 1 passive, 5 talents, and 2 mantras. The main passive for this oath is the momentum bar. Sprinting builds up your momentum bar and allows you to utilize certain talents like Rush of Ancients. Your Jetstriker mantras also do additional damage and max momentum. Strato's Step is another important talent, allowing you to hold space when climbing up walls to climb higher using Steps of Wind. Just keep in mind that opponents can also follow you up these steps. Acceleration Points allows you to gain momentum and steal it from opponents when you hit them in the back with basic attacks or mobility mantras. Jetstream Pursuit lets you teleport right next to anyone that you flourish, allowing you to keep up pressure and momentum on enemies. Decisive Winds gives you max sprinting momentum and a full Jetstriker momentum bar whenever you're damaged below 50% max HP with a set cooldown. Lastly, Rush of Ancients gives you an enhanced roll cancel or full roll when rolling at max momentum. Jetstriker gives you 2 mantras, Fake Strike and Jet Kick. Fake Strike has your character do a fake attack, then teleport behind them and do a flurry of blows. Jet Kick allows you to teleport to an opponent and deal damage. This move can also help you gain distance when used out of combat, otherwise it can only target opponents when in PvP combat. Jetstriker is the preferred oath for those that have a need for speed, and it provides mobility in spades. Next up is Silentheart. Silentheart is the oath for players that hate attunements. In order to get this oath, you must not have any attunement. You also need a total of 75 investment points into weapon stats, 25 strength, and lastly 25 charisma or 25 agility, totaling 125 points invested in order to obtain the oath at a minimum. Lastly, you also need to die to a player who has an attunement at least once. Dying in Chime of Conflict does not count, nor does dying in Layer 2 of the Light Hook. Once you meet these requirements, head to the beloved Zofia. Starting from the Minotursa boat NPC, follow the edge of the mountains until you see the beloved Zofia appear in the distance. Sail to the boat itself, then speak with some ghosts on the upper deck of the boat. After talking to them, head to the lower decks where you will find the Dreadstar Shrine. Speak with them and accept their offer, and you will obtain Silentheart. In order to progress Silentheart, you need to head to each attunement trader aside from Reject, Varelda, and Beatra. Killing all 6 attunement trainers will max out this oath. You can kill them in any order that you wish, and each are located in different areas. Nell is located near Etris on the edge of a cliffside.
Today we're well on our way with 81 degrees right now.
Freed is located at a campsite outside of the Isle of Vigil's temple. Amashi is located at the Songseeker Dojo. Funk is located at Summer Isle on the 2nd floor of the castle. Adar is located inside one of the bridge structures on the upper levels of Miner's Landing. Lastly, No Store is located in the sunken Seltor city. All fights are basic humanoid fights, so just patch them however you'd like and you'll have the oath maxed out once they're all dead. Silentheart gives you 2 posture and 10 health. You also gain 5 talent abilities, 1 talent tool, and 4 talents. Silentheart's talent abilities play out a lot like mantras, except they require certain key inputs to use. Each Silentheart special move varies depending on the class of weapon you're using between light, heavy, and medium weapons. Ankle Cutter is used when you do a basic attack while sliding, applying a movement speed debuff on anyone that you hit. Mayhem can be activated by using a basic attack at the start of your dodge, initiating a short lunge attack to close the distance on opponents. Relentless Hunt is activated by doing an M1 attack while mid-aerial attack. This initiates a tracking move that locks onto an opponent and chases them down. Rising Star is activated by hitting Control plus M2, doing a special uppercut-like attack. Vengeful Pursuit is activated when doing a running attack, sending out a tracking projectile that can hit opponents. That's all of Silentheart's moves, and they have a couple of special talents to help solidify their kit as anti-attunement. True Vantage makes you go invisible when you vent and grants a slight speed boost. Unmatched Dexterity allows you to swap weapons that you have in your hotbar by pressing X, giving the Silentheart more options in a fight. Merciless Blade lets you grip enemies a lot quicker. Flow State is a special tool that enhances your Silentheart moves when used with proper timing. It increases their damage, makes certain moves in heavy and medium Silentheart auto grip, and other special effects. Lastly, Dreadfighter gives you stacking mantra resistance as you parry and get hit by mantras, stacking to a max of 25% max mantra resistance. Silenthearts also get access to a secret passive where they can use weapons that are 25 points lower than their current requirements. Silentheart is the oath for those that hate mages and desire a simplified gameplay experience. The next oath that we're going to go over is Contractor. Contractor is yet another unique requirement, not needing any stats, but you have alternative requirements needed to obtain the oath. You need positive reputation with both Etris and the Ministry, as well as a bell to meet one of the requirements for a later step in obtaining Contractor. You'll first need to start by doing the Duke questline and proceeding to kill him yourself. After doing so with both the positive Etris and Ministry rep, return to Regent and select the Bite Your Tongue option. Now you have a new set of things to do. You'll need to make deals with 4 different deep shrines. The Shrines of Solitude, Mastery, and Order will not work for this. Making these deals with the shrines must be done after selecting the Bite Your Tongue dialogue option from Lord Regent. After you've done this, head to the depths and talk to Yun Shul, selecting the What Happened to This Place dialogue option. Yun Shul will mention that the Ministry sacrificed Saltchemist to the depths, resulting in its sinking. With all of that done, head back to the Lord Regent and call him out for his plans to sink Etris. Now, you'll need to select that you wish to join him and swear your allegiance to him, which gives you the Contractor Oath. In order to progress Contractor, you need to grip players with oaths in Lair 1 by yourself. No one else can help you secure the kill or it doesn't count. Players that you kill get sent to Lair 2, and 3 kills will completely progress your oath to max. You can easily boost like I did with this, having friends make oath alts and letting them grip you for their progression. Contractor gives 2 combat mantra slots, 1 wildcard mantra slot, and 10 ether. You also gain access to 2 talents and 3 mantras. Hidden Tendril attaches a string to opponents when you land any physical mantra, critical, uppercut, or flourish on an enemy. String Trick will proc when you have a Hidden Tendril on 2 opponents, pulling them together and dealing damage. Contractor's most iconic mantra is Judgment. You send out tendrils to ensnare an opponent, lifting them into the air and dealing damage. This move can execute knocked or low health players. Lord Slice has you fling yourself towards an opponent with whom you have a hidden tendril attached to, dealing damage and displacing them. Lastly, Equalizer is a counter move, swinging a tendril and holding a pose. If anyone hits you in this pose, they're strung into the air and free to be attacked with no defense. Contractor is a very deadly and unique oath focused on executions and displacement. The last oath that we're going to discuss is Soulbreaker. Soulbreaker has a very simple stat requirement, needing 50 points combined into Charisma and Willpower. You'll also need to have any one Murmur. You will also need very high ally Etris rep. Once you have this, talk to Theodry, who's located at the entrance to Lord Regent's palace. Discuss the King of Etria being a god, and he'll mention various details about the king being able to use all 3 Murmurs. Head back to the main area of Etris and talk to Bookkeeper Andros, and ask about the King's Ardor. After doing so, head down to the Temple of Hearts in the depths. Make sure that you have a Yun Shul wish on hand and talk to Yun Shul. Choose the dialogue option, for now I am 1, but I wish to be 3, and you'll obtain Soulbreaker. Alternatively, you can use a Sinner's Ash after killing the Duke in his manor, which unlocks Soulbreaker provided you meet the previous requirements. Unlocking Soulbreaker automatically gives you any other murmurs that you might have been missing. In order to progress Soulbreaker, you need to make deals with Deep Shrines. You can make the same deal repeatedly to progress it. Make 5 deals with Deep Shrines and you will have maxed out Soulbreaker. Soulbreaker gives you 2 combat mantra slots and 1 wildcard mantra slot. Additionally, you gain access to all murmurs and their unique unique talents. For Soulbreaker specific tools, you gain 2 talents and a talent tool, along with 3 mantras. Tacet allows you to go invisible by crouching and pressing T, showing a detection radius where you would be spotted. Ardor amplifies your posture and posture damage, which can be activated by pressing H by default. Lastly, you gain access to Rhythm, which can be activated by pressing Ctrl plus G, highlighting enemies and their rough health estimates nearby. You also gain Spotter, which allows you to mark enemies and their according rhythm health by using the callout talent. Soulbreaker also gives you Ardor Scream, which makes nearby opponents take more posture and normal damage. For Soulbreaker specific talents, you get Soul Infusion. Your Ardor Scream range is increased, and executing an enemy lets you use one for free. The minimum ether required to use Ardor Scream is also greatly lowered. If your execution is interrupted, opponents stay knocked down for longer. Your grips are also a lot faster. You also gain access to Formless, which lets you teleport to a space within your Tacet detection radius. This takes you out of Tacet upon a successful teleport. Lastly, you gain Heart Reverb, which lets you see players' health when they dodge your attacks, as well as seeing opponents who are doing various actions from long distances. For mantras, you have Rhythmic Advance. This puts you into iframes as you dance around an opponent. If you land the move, you get to see exactly how much health and posture an opponent has. Ardor Slicer sends out a fast-moving projectile, dealing damage and pushing people in the direction of the projectile on hit. This can hit multiple people at once. Lastly, you have Tacet Kick, which causes you to go to invisible and briefly teleport to an opponent, dealing damage and knocking them down. Soulbreaker provides a ton of stats, utility, and combat potential, which is very hard to ignore for anybody who wants to maybe pick up this oath. But that's it. That is all 16 oaths that you can currently obtain in-game, how to obtain and progress them, as well as a general overview of their kits and what they can provide. If you like long-form guides like these, please do like and subscribe, as it goes a long way to motivating me to make guides that are as long as this. Writing the script, getting the footage, and recording has taken well over 3 weeks, let alone the editing process that I've done to get this video out to you guys, so any support helps out a lot. I have also just started up memberships for people that want to join the channel and support it more directly. You get things like shoutouts at the end of videos, I do early access for videos, and other things that can help influence or dictate what videos I might release in the future. So check it out in the join button down near my subscribe button. Thank you guys a lot though for watching regardless, and I'll see you guys later.